Okay.
Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So good to have us here again. And if you are a first-time parent, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. It means so much to us. It means that you are an intentional parent. That's why you are here. Our topic today is I want to talk about effective communication in parenting. My name is Adinike Weldy. I'm an intentional parenting coach. I love kids. I enjoy interpreting the inner voice of the child to parents, okay, so that they can better relate with their children. So today we're talking about effective parenting. So we all know if we're talking about effective communication in parenting, we all know what communication is. And communication is not complete. It's not complete if it is not effective, if it is not achieving what we want it to achieve. But before we continue on today's topic, I would like to say a word of prayer. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for the privilege to be parents or intending parents. Lord, we are grateful for this beautiful privilege, beautiful assignments you have committed into our hands. We do not take it for granted. We receive wisdom as to how to parent effectively. In the name of the Lord Jesus, thank you for your word says the seed of the righteous is blessed. Thank you for our seed, born and unborn, they are blessed. Thank you because we will not fail over them. We give you praise forevermore. And thank you for this class is going to be productive. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. So we're talking about effective communication in parenting. Communication is not complete. Like I said before, your communication is not complete if it is not effective, if it is not achieving what you want it to achieve with your child. If a child cannot understand what you're saying, if it is not clear, and the corresponding action you expect of your child is not, you're not getting it. So that means your communication has not been effective. That is why you're not getting that kind of result. And it's also vice versa. Your child is not understanding you and you are not understanding your child. So effective communication is actually very important in this school of parenting, in this lifestyle that we have. Effective communication is very important because there are so many things you would want to communicate to your child in life as at each and every stage of your child's life. Okay, some of these things are basic and you might find them easy to navigate, but there are some of them that are quite sensitive that if you have not developed a very effective communicative system with your child, it will be there will be a very big problem. It will be a huge challenge between you and your child. And it's not going to help that child to achieve what that child is meant to achieve here on it. We parents are very pivotal, are very important in helping our child fulfill that which God has called them to fulfill here on it. And one foundation I would want to lay, one thing I would want us to have in mind as parents is that, if we have this understanding, it will help us to better relate with our children. It will help us to better know that the things we do with them should be coordinated. Okay? So we should know, it's very important as parents that we should know that children are not sent. I've said this before and I will say it again. Every opportunity I have to say it to parents, I always say that children are not sent to you in this world. God didn't send them to you to fulfill your purpose. No. Many people think that the only reason or the reason God sent them children is so that, it's a life achievement, so that I too can be called a mother, or so that I too can be called a father, or so that I too can be classified as those who are, you know, have fulfilled one of the things everyone come to the world to fulfill, which is to give birth. That is not the, in fact, that is the minutest part of the reason why God sent that child through you. So children are not sent to you. No. Rule it out in your mind. Notice that children are not sent to you to fulfill your purpose in this world. Children are sent through you. You are a medium. Yes. Children are sent through you to this world to fulfill God's purpose. So when you look at it that way, you know that you are accountable. So you are a custodian of God's resources. You are a custodian of God's resources. Children are God's heritage. So you are a custodian of God's heritage. So when you say it that way, you would know that, oh, I can't just handle this parenting things carelessly. I can't just do it anyhow. After all, because some parents will be like, after all, is my child. Even if another person is correcting them that, oh, you don't deal with your child like that, they'll be like, what's your business? After all, is my child. So we tend to, especially in this part of the world, in Africa, in the part of the world where I hail from, in Africa, we tend to objectify our children. We tend to turn them to like our own property. And so we want to do it our way. In fact, you would even see some parents who want their children to fulfill that aspect of their life that they have failed at, they are not able to fulfill due to certain reason or the other. Maybe because their parents are not able to guide them on that part, or maybe their parents don't have enough money to guide them on that part, or maybe for one reason or the other, any aspect of their life where they have failed, maybe in career, in whatever it is, that they were not able to achieve. So you will see some, they would want to lord it over their children to become that failed part of them, that's failed, so that they can satisfy their, for self-gratification, so they can feel good that, oh, okay, even if I'm not able to, my child has achieved it. No, that child is not called here to live your life. That child is called to live the life that God has carved out for him or her. And you are just a custodian of God's heritage. Your role, your part in this journey is to guide that child in the way that that child should go, not in the way you want the child to go, not in the way that you really desire to go and you couldn't, not in the way your neighbor's child is going, or your friend's child, or your colleague's child is going. In the way that the Bible says, train up a child in the way it should go. And when he is old, it would not depart from it. So there is a way. There is a way a child should go. And it is your duty as the custodian of God's heritage to train that child in that way. And one of the in fact, the core of training that child in the way that child should go is in communicate, because there is no way you want to train that child in the way the child should go if you cannot communicate effectively. And right from when your child is already in the womb, from the time the child is in the womb, communication has begun already. I tell you most solemnly, you know, mothers can actually attest to this a whole lot, because when you're pregnant, you would realize that at some point, the child will give some kind of, you know, position. And when you maybe like tap or rub, the child will adjust. Communication has begun already. When the child is making some kind of movement, maybe the child is not comfortable with one certain position and the child is moving, communication, and you are also, maybe that position is comfortable for you, so you just let the child be. Maybe the position is so uncomfortable for you, you try to communicate to the child so that the child can adjust, and then, you know, communication has started. Okay, so communication is something that you cannot like do away with. Communication is something you need it to be able to fulfill your own role, your own part in that assignment that God has committed into your hands as a parent. And you are actually, I believe I'm communicating with Christian parents. GGCMI is a Christian platform. So I believe I'm communicating with Christian parents. So, you know, it's actually very important for you to know your part. And so when you know your part, you'll be able to deliver that your part effectively. You know, you may say that, oh, as children may not be able to read the Bible. Yes, they cannot read the Bible, but you are actually the first Bible that your child will read. You are the first Bible that your child will read, because whatever it is that you do, or however is it that you're doing what you are doing, your child is reading it. Your child is reading it as probably as a baby crying. Different parents even have different way they communicate to their children when they don't want them to cry. Some will even spank the child. Some will spank the child, baby for that matter. Okay. And unknown to you, you're already, introducing, that child came pure. But the method and manner and approach you're communicating stuff to the child, you're already, giving that child a kind of value system. You're already telling that child that to get results, you have to be aggressive. To get things done, to get people to, you're trying to you're just trying to control that child to do what you want the child to do in an aggressive way. And that's negative communication. And that is totally unacceptable. So when this kind of child, or maybe you snap at your child, you shout, you do a whole lot of, when the child keeps growing, and you would need to keep shouting. And at the end of the day, that shouting does not sound like a shout to that child anymore. You won't get results that way. You will be worn out. You will wear yourself out, and you will wear the child out. Okay? So that is the reason why it is quite important as parents for us to want to know what effective communication is in parenting. So there's something that is called, I won't bore you with or types of communication and all of those things, or maybe mode or method of, I won't bore you with all of that, but I will just go straight into highlighting how you can actually fit yourself into a class of the kind of communication you've been doing with your child. Either my communication with my child has been healthy, or it has been a poor kind of communication, okay? So, and if you have not adopted anyone, you can begin to start, okay, this is how to begin to do it right, okay? So one of the ways to know that a communication is LD, one of the ways to know is that your communication, you have to speak with love and affection. Your communication must be with love and affection. It doesn't matter if it is a verbal communication or if it is non-verbal. That communication has to be done in love. It has to show that you love this child. Even in discipline, even if what you're communicating to your child is discipline, there is a way you can discipline your child in love. And if you don't discipline your child in love, I usually say that you do not have enough right to discipline a child that you have not shown enough love. If you have not shown more than enough love to your child, you do not have that right to discipline that child. Love is the foundation to discipline. So that is the reason why you should start showing your child so much love. Now, if your child is still young, such that when you start disciplining the child know of a fact that my parent loves me. So if they are going to discipline me, or if they are disciplining me, it is as a result of love. So that's another topic on its own entirely, but I would try to focus on effective communication. But I would say again that if your communication will be healthy, it must be done in love. It must be done in love. Okay. So another thing again is that you must give your children the room to express themselves. Let the child express themselves. Validate their feelings. Don't let them, when your child is expressing himself or herself, don't make them feel that their feeling or their emotions or whatever it is that they are trying to express to you is not valid. Even if you're not going to accept it, but you have to let them validate it. Let them know that this is valid, even though or however this, and this. Okay, so don't just immediately, because you have to learn as parents to see with the Google lens of a child. You have to wear the clothes of a child. We've all been a child. We've all been children. Okay, you may not be able to say how you felt as a toddler or but at some point as a child, I'm sure you can still remember how you felt, even as an adult. So how would you feel if you if you were feeling unheard? How did it affect you? I'm sure even that has affected some parents so much. It has eaten deep into them so much. Trauma from childhood, because they came from a home where their voice were not heard. So they keep projecting this also onto their own children. So they feel in our own days, this happens a lot in Africa. In our days, this is not how my parented me. This is not how it is done. You dare not exchange words with you dare not hear your own opinion. You dare not, no, you cannot do that with your child. How your parent parented you then, it's quite different from how you would parent yours now. If you fall in that category of parent who is coming from a traumatic upbringing, you need to heal. You need to heal so you don't project same to your child, so that we don't begin to breed generation of unhealthy adults, traumatized adults. So you need to heal so you don't project. If you need to talk to a therapist, if you need to get counseling, if you need, please do so. Please do so, so that you can help your own child. So you don't project that which you inherited from your own parent. You don't project it onto your own child. You need to befriend your child. That's another point. You need to befriend your child. Before communication can be effective, you realize that children communicate with themselves better. They communicate so much with themselves. Why? Because anyone that a child can see as a friend, the child will be excited to communicate with that kind of person. There will be a free flow of communication. So you must create time. You must, in your daily day-to-day activity with your child, you must create time to be friendly. You must befriend your child. Make them your friend to a certain level. Let them know that you are interested in their affairs. Let your child know that you are interested in their affairs. Befriend your child. Be interested in the things that interest your child. Give a few minutes of interest into those things that interest your child. Because if the only time you call your child or you want to talk to your child is at the times you want to give them instructions, you want to give them rules, you want to give them the do's and don'ts, or maybe you want to correct them. If those are the only times you talk to your child, you will raise an enemy. Because the child will begin to build a defense, a barrier. There will be a barrier between that communication, because anytime you talk or you want, apart from the normal greetings, and the child knows that anytime you call him or her, you want to talk, the child already, before you even start, the child has already built up a form of defense and barrier, because this child knows that this is not my friend. She wants to either castigate me, she wants to condemn me, she wants to do whatever, she wants to correct me for something I've done wrong. So the child is already building a defense. So communication can never be effective that way if the only time you talk to your child is when you want to correct them for one thing or the other. So you must befriend your child. It's quite important. Your child needs to be respected. Speak to your child with respect. Some people think the only people that need to be respected are people that are older than them, or people that are adults. Also, children also, they also love respect. They understand it. Children understand respect. You need to respect your child, especially in front of outside, both inside when it's just within the family, and also out there. In fact, that is much more important. You need to respect your child. You need to talk highly of your child amidst your friends, especially to the hearing of that child. Some parents are in the habit of, condemning their child, especially in the presence of guests, to the hearing of that child. The African parent will think that when I talk negatively of him or her, when I say the negative thing that she has done in the presence of guests, outsiders, his friends, his colleagues, his peers, when I say those negative, he will be so ashamed. They want to shame a child to correction. It's not done. You can't shame a child to correction. You can't shame a child to correct them. You are actually building or raising a rebellious child if you do that. You don't expect outsiders to respect your child when you yourself are not respecting them. When the only thing you ever say of your child is negative things. No. If you want to correct your child, you correct your child within. You don't go out there and begin to say negative things to your child. In fact, say positive things about your child to outsiders to the hearing of that child. When you do that, the child will feel loved, the child will feel respected, the child will feel seen, the child will feel appreciated. So when you indoor speak of the other things where other areas where the child needs to improve, the child will be willing to listen, because the child knows that if I get this right again, my mom, my dad is going to speak so highly of me out there once more. So the child would want to do that. The child will be willing and ready. The child would know you are interested in him or her growth. You are interested in the betterment of that child. There is no parent that don't love their child. In fact, it will be it's not the norms. It should be an anomaly. If we have parents who don't love their child, and we don't have any of such parent here, for you to even be here, it means you love your child. You want to achieve effective communication with your child to the end of getting, or to the end of guiding that child to become what God wants that child to be. That is why you are here, first of all. So every parent loves their child, but do you know that every child does not feel so of their parents? Why? Why is it that every parent loves their child and it's not every child that feels so of their parent? It's actually because of the way the love is being communicated. The love is being communicated wrongly. And so as a result of that, the child will think that, oh, my parent don't love me. There is nothing you want to say to that child. And the moment the child asks that, there is a breakdown in communication already. The communication can never be effective. So you must, in whatever it is that you do, communicate love to your child. Like I said before, that communication is the foundation of discipline. I mean, love is the foundation of discipline. When love is in place, you can build discipline on it. But when there is no love as a foundation and you want to begin to build discipline on it, the child will see it as hatred. The child will see it as though you don't love her or you don't love him. Okay. And also, discipline also is actually quite different from punishment. What most parents do many of the time is punishment, not discipline. But that's another class entirely. If we would continue this class in another session, I'm sure that we would get to that. But today we're talking about effective communication in parenting. Poor parenting is when you communicate in anger, when you communicate aggressively, when you want to enforce, your will, your way on your child. No, you can't. That child has his or her own will too. That child has a mind of her own. So you can't just want to lord or force that which you feel is right into the mind of that child. You don't want to raise a dummy as a child. You don't want to raise a robot, a child that does not have a fruitful mind. A child that does not have a productive mind, that can't make productive use of his or her mind in the future. That's not the kind of child we want. Many parents want children who would be so out there in the world and making things happen. Many parents want children who would be able to creatively and productively use their mind as adults as they grow. But many of these parents have damaged that instinct in their children while they were growing, because they always want to lord and force their opinion on that child. What a contradiction. How is it that we want our children to always do it as we say? We want them to do our biddings. We want to enforce it on them as children. Then when they grow, you suddenly want them to have a creative and productive mind, a mind that can think through things by himself or herself correctly. How is that so? That's a contradiction. You killed it when the child was growing. So you can't have both. If you have it, it's a miracle. It will be a miracle. So we need to, or it will be as a result of me, that child has done a lot of work on himself or herself to be able to get to that point as an adult, maybe having realized the damage the parents have done to them. And that is why you see some grown-up children, they are so bitter towards their parents, because now they are grown, now they know better, now they see some of the things that the parent didn't do correctly, some of the molestation, some of the abuse that we see in some children as teens today is as a result of a child who does not have a voice in the home. A child who does not understand how to create boundaries. A child who does not know how to express himself or herself, how to put that thing that is upon our mind, how to put it to action. Why? Because it has been killed by the parent who is supposed to enhance this gift, this God's given gift in them, who's supposed to enhance it. And why? Because the parent also, they are ignorant. You can't even also blame it on the parent too, because they are ignorant. They don't know better. If they know better, they will do better. And that is why we can't, platform like this are so amazing. GGCMI has organized a lot of, have a lot of human resources at parent disposal to help them to parent their children correctly. And you don't want to joke with this kind of platform. And if you have a parent that you love, you don't want to be stingy about this to them. You want to tell them about it and bring them on this platform so that they can enjoy some of the things you are also enjoying on this platform. Criticism, I was talking about poor communication. Criticism is not something you want to, if you know that this is the method you use for your child, it's time to stop it. Criticism, or maybe overflogging while correcting. You want to correct your child and then you keep overflogging the matter. You keep giving long lectures and you won't just leave this matter. You keep overflogging it. There's something, it will trigger something in that child. The child is not even, the child is not listening to you anymore. He may be looking at you and he may be just be there for being there sake. But you keep over, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. It will put a barricade it will put a barricade between you and your child. The communication will be tampered with, and you won't achieve effective communication with your child that way. Okay. So what do you want to begin to do with your child? You want to do active listening. These are some, I just want to give quick tips of good communication with your child. Active listening. What do I mean by active listening? Active listening is when you are actually, when we say active, when you are listening to your child actively. If you are, your child is talking to you, many times our children will be talking to us and we'll just be doing other things and we'll just be, nodding our head and we're not even like looking at the child, or we're not even paying attention to what that child is saying. When the child starts doing this, the child has done it the first time, and this has become the regular practice with the parents. The child will keep withdrawing and the child will reduce the level and extent to which the child communicates, or to which the child speak out some truth to the parents. You want to give your child attention. You want your child to know that you're actively listening to him or her. If you're holding something, you want to drop that thing and focus on the child and give the child eye contact. If it means for you to nod your head, if it means for you to look at the child in the eyes and ask some questions, so that the child you will know that you're actually together with him or her in the communication. So you want to do active listening. Active listening is one of the ways you enhance effective communication with your child. Another way you want to enhance effective communication with your child is reflective listening. When you're listening to your child, all of these things are actually very good when the child is still young, maybe before they become teenagers. I try to want to bring out some point that is useful both for young child and also for teenagers. Okay, so reflective listening. One of the ways to give your child that assurance that you're listening to him or her is when you do reflective listening. How do you do that? Your child has mentioned that thing. And for instance, maybe your child says, I don't want to play with Paul again. And then reflective listening will say, oh, you don't want to play with your friend again? That child knows that you're actually listening. You are reflecting, you are saying back to that child what that child has said in a question form. So the child will tell you more. The child will be able to tell you more that way. It also shows that you are interested, because some children will be speaking to their parents, and then before you know it, the parent is not even listening. So now the child is asking questions and the mom is like, say again, What did you say? Like, it's obvious that you were not listening from the beginning. So if you know that you would not be listening, you can create your, you can ask your child that, oh, can we discuss this later? And if you say that, can we discuss this later, ensure you come back to it later. Don't let it slide. If you are actually very busy at that particular point, you would know when your child wants to communicate something. And sometimes we think that it's only when the child wants to communicate something so deep that we should give attention. If you have not been giving attention to your child, when your child is communicating the silliest of things, you would not grow to the point where the child will trust you enough to be able to communicate the deepest of things with you. So you must pay attention even when they are communicating things that sounds or seems trivial to you. Because if you were the Google of a child, that thing that you as an adult are saying is trivial or is minor or is nothing, it means a lot to that child. Before a child will say out something, there are some other things internally that the child has not said out. The child will just want to know if he or she can trust you with this little trivial information first. If you can answer that, then you would realize that there is more. Then the child will come up with more. Then the child will come up with more. Over my years of experience of working with children who are abused sexually, I realized that many times they don't open up to their parent. But when they actually open up to me, it's not, they don't go all out like that. They start in bits. Because I work in an organization, I own a school where I work, and I realized that these children will just walk up to me, they will greet, and then I'll pass a comment, and then I'll say something, and then they will continue. And then they would say something. It's the conversation always starts in the most trivial, with the most trivial question or with the most trivial comments that I pay particular attention to, that I pay interest. I show the child that I'm interested, even in this very minor thing. A child will just walk up to me and say, my mom shouts. And then you're thinking, oh, your mom shouts, oh, and then you just let it know. As a result of that, you'll be able to dig and dig and dig and dig. And at the end of the day, you realize that this child is from an abusive home. This child is from a home where violence is the order of the day. This child is from this child himself or herself is so damaged and can't even, focus academically. And they would discover and realize a whole lot of things. Realize that there's even one uncle as a neighbor that has been molesting this child. As a result of when the parents start shouting, I'm not interested. This child will just walk away to find solace in one neighbor's house, who will now start molesting this child. And this would have been going on for so long, many times, and the parent don't even know. Or maybe even it's an uncle that is living in the house with them, in the same house with them. And this would have been going on for so long, and you wonder, how come the parents don't know? Communication has not been effective. They've not been paying attention to the things that they are supposed to pay attention to. So reflective communication is one of the ways you can actually help your child to come out with more, okay? More that is on the inside of them. Another way is speaking clearly. As a parent, you speak clearly. Let your child, whatever it is that you're saying to your child, use language that your child will be able to understand. Speak in clear terms. Sometimes we think that these children don't understand some things. You'll be amazed at some things they understand. They would ask you some question, and you wonder, oh my God, speak in clear terms. These children understand these things. Don't even think they don't. And let them know that even if they fail, you are always here to help them hope again. When your child feels that, oh, if I fail, I can't, if failure is not, I'm not saying, failure is a good thing, but when your child has the feeling that if I fail, my parent will kill me, like I can't even, they would not be able to come to you, even for you to be their mentor and guide them not to even fail. The fear of failure will even lead them or cause them to fail. Because there are things that will be that you would have given them or guide them on as a parent, but they can't even come to you because they don't see you as a friend. They don't see you as a mentor. They see you as a boss up there that I can't afford to, It's not the best perspective that your child should have of you. It's not the best perspective your child should have of you. I said earlier on, I said avoid lecturing. Avoid lecturing. Then give appraiser. Appraise your child. Appraise them a lot. Children want to hear it. Appraise them a lot. They would want to do more, and they would want to open up more to you. They would want to, they will be encouraged to also want to do more. Don't just, when your child has done something beautiful, something amazing, don't just say, oh, nice, or oh, amazing, or oh, good job. Okay, but you can do better than that. Say, say that thing that you are praising. Oh, I love the way you did this, and this. Oh, it's so amazing when I see you do this and this and this. Because many times we don't even say some beautiful things that our children are doing. That is why we're not getting more of those things. It's as if we're not even noticing it. So when you notice your child, that is when you notice the beautiful things, the positive aspect of your child. I know that we notice these things as parents, but we don't say it out. So the children will assume or will believe that you don't notice the good in them. So when you notice the good in your child would want to do more. So notice that good and say, oh, I noticed that you usually do this and this and this. I noticed that you usually clean up after you when you're done eating. I noticed that it might be the smallest of things, but don't let a day pass. Do not let a day pass without noticing one good thing that your child has done. Even though that thing is for himself or herself. It may not even be for the family or for the house, or it may not even be academic related or what have you. Oh, I noticed that you're neatly dressed today. Oh, I noticed that just notice something. Oh, I noticed that you brushed your teeth properly today. I noticed that, notice it and ask, go, good job. Well done. I love that. Keep it up. Notice those good things. Don't let it only be that it is when your child has not done well, that that's the only one you notice and that's the only one you talk about. So when you notice those good things, the child will want to do more, knowing fully well that, okay, if I begin to do this again, I will get more appraisal. Everybody wants appraisal. Even as adults, we also want it. We want to be appraised. And when we are appraised, we want to do more. Okay? So that is the reason why it is quite important. It helps, it helps communicating with your child. Another thing is that, the best time to strike communication, I said earlier, I said befriend your child. Apart from befriending your child, also crack jokes with them. If I begin to ask now and ask that each parent here should unmute their mic and say, when was the last time you made a joke with your child, especially your young child or your teenager? Maybe many parents cannot even remember. Maybe many have not even ever done it before because some parents will even like, what's there to joke about? What's there? Is it this child that I've tried everything? I've used all myths and techniques and method, and the child is still not getting it. So what's there to joke about? That is the reason why you would never get it. The child will never get it also. Be playful around your child. Let them see you're soft. It's even healthy for you. It's healthy for you as well. I know that your child is an handful. I know they are an handful. You've done, and it seems like there's nothing to laugh or joke or anything about. But believe me, when you joke with them, when you laugh with them, when you laugh with your child, and when you joke with them, when you make some funny comments out of the things that are important to your child, maybe something that your child is interested in, something that fascinates your child, make a comment, make a funny comment, something to laugh about, and a healthy joke, something to smile about, something to laugh about, that your child will be surprised. Did mommy actually say that? Did daddy actually say that? The child will, if there is any defense that the child has built in himself or herself, that way you are actually breaking that wall of rebellious defense that has been built maybe over the years as a result of poor and lack of effective communication, mother and child or parent and child communication. So that's one way to start. Start by befriending your child. If you think, oh, we have gone the negative side so much, I don't think we can ever. You can. You can still make it happen. Befriend your child, make jokes, crack jokes, try to say something positive about your child daily or every other day, if you have not been doing it before. And that way, never laugh at your child. Instead, laugh with your child. Make intentional effort for scenarios and things that will make you laugh with your child instead of at your child. Many people are fond of doing that. They will think that, oh, if we make jest of him, if we do this, if we laugh at him, it would be better. No, you're actually killing that child's self-esteem if you do that. And that is not what you want. You want a child who can go all out there and face the world with confidence and conquer the world. And the very beginning and foundation of it is from the home. A child that has already been conquered and has already been terrorized and conquered and subjected at home, all in the name of training and discipline or punishment instead of discipline. How on earth, how do we now expect that child to be able to go out there and face the world? Facing the world is first taught from home by doing everything possible to help that child to build their self-esteem. And when we're correcting our child, we're not correcting negatively. We're not focusing on that aspect of the thing that the child is doing negatively. Instead, we are correcting positively. There is positive correction and there is negative. Negative is when you're saying, why is it that you can never get this right? Or why is it that you always do this wrong? Or why is it that you don't put your bag in the right place? Instead, just say, put your bag in the right place. A place for everything, everything in its place. Put your bag in the right place. This child has gotten the correction. But many times you see parents say, why can't you put your bag in the right place? But you would think that it's actually the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. One is positive and one is negative. One has a negative impact on the child and one has a positive, subtle positive impact on the child and subtle negative. And accumulation of this subtle negative impact is what make a child become rebellious, make a child have low self-esteem. The child will begin to think in himself or herself, I cannot do anything right. I cannot get things right. When you begin to say, why can't you put your bag in the right place? Why can't you put your cloth in the right place? Why can't you score the highest in the class? All the children are scoring highest. Do they have 2 heads? Why can't you do this and that? Instead, you do it positively. You do it positively or show it to them. Okay, so that way you are building something positive in that child. Then the last thing I'm going to talk about is love language. A lot of parents don't even understand what love language means, or they think that, oh, love language is only effective when it comes to 2 lovers, couples. I don't know. You must understand your child's love language. You must be able to identify your child's love language. You know that is still the same, those 5 love languages. Some children, their love language, because if you don't show love, I said before that every parent loves their children, but not every child thinks their parent loves them. Why? Because you are not communicating that love the way the child receives love, the way the child understands love. You are giving it your own way. You are giving love to that child your own way. But at the end of the day, it is not interpreted as love by the child. Why? Because you are not speaking the child's language. That is not how the child wants to be loved. So we have some children whose love language is physical touch. How many times as a parent have you pat your child on the back and say, well done? How many times as a parent have you given your child a hug? How many times as a parent have you done that? Some have never even done that. Some have never done that. Some have never done that before. Okay, so we must be intentional about that. Gifts. Some children, their love language is gifts. Giving of gifts. It doesn't have to be big, you know, but you just know that the child love language is gifts. Then you do that. Then you do that. Your child's love language is giving you do that. Words of affirmation. This one, either it is your child's love language or it is not your child's love language. You have to do it. Words of affirmation is so important. You have to affirm your child. In the world of negativity, there is so many negativity going on out there in the world. Your child will hear so many negative things out there. The only way that those negative things can be countered, or the only way those negative things will not penetrate into them and they won't begin to see themselves as those negative things, if you have so fortified your child with words of affirmation from home. From home. So words of affirmation, you have to speak positively of your child. If you don't know where to start, you can start from the scripture. You can start from the word of God. What are the things that the Lord has said concerning individuals in the word? You are a light. You are a shining. So you will interpret it to the way the child can understand. Don't you know when? And you can impute this in your daily conversation. Maybe your child is telling you about something that he or she is not able to do and the child is not happy about it. You can say, do you know you can do it? because you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. You are built to do more. You are built, you can do it. You are a light. You are a winner. I always say this story anytime it comes to mind when I'm given this kind of topic about my son. You know, I was saying, I said this story of how I wanted to start teaching him about, I was thinking, how would I teach him about sex education and all of that? And then by himself, he came to, when he was much younger, and he came to ask me questions about how sperm and how babies are formed and how this, and I was like, God, how am I going to do this? I thought that he's too young for this, but it's actually better to start younger than older. And then I began to tell it to him. How is it that, you know, I'm like, is it not so early to start telling the child about sperm and egg and fertilization and everything? But you know, the Spirit of God helped me to communicate it to him in a beautiful way that stuck with him. He can never forget it. And that has actually positively affected him. And what did I do? I started telling him the story of how is it that when a man and a woman come together, a husband and a wife come together that are ready to have babies. When they come together and they meet, and then there is the sperm with the man, and there is the egg with the woman. And there are millions of sperm that will be released at intercourse. And so all of the sperm will go on a race. And then they will begin to go. They will begin to go on a race. Why? To meet that one egg from the woman. And then they would go, keep going. It's actually a race. And then they will keep going. And the first to eat the egg, that is the one that get the egg fertilized. And that is the one that becomes the baby that starts forming. And I said to him, you know what? That special one is you. That is how you were born. You are the one that won the race from the womb. So who told you that you're a failure? Who told you that you cannot do it? That person lies. If you did it, you didn't get it. It's because you didn't. You can try again. You were never a failure. You were born. In fact, you started as a winner. Do you know what it means? Millions of sperm, and you were the one that hit the targets. Come on, you're a winner. That stuck with him as he grew, and he never saw himself as someone that cannot do anything. He's always telling, even now that he's a bit grown, he's telling his friends that story. How is it that? So there's nobody out there that can tell my son that he's a failure and he would believe it. Because why? He knows that he won from the start. So he cannot lose the race now. You can't tell me I'm a failure because I know my mom told me this story. And then as it grows, he saw in biology that it's actually the same thing. So, but that has stuck with him. That has formed something in him that can never be lost, that can never be taken away. And that's what you do. You continue affirming your child. You continue affirming them. You continue affirming them. And that way, they'll keep getting better. Even though they are doing the opposite of what you want, don't keep speaking the opposite. Don't keep, tagging them that opposite. Keep positively affirming them. It's actually because they've not seen it yet. By the time they see it, they will start behaving as that affirmation, that faith declaration of them that you've been saying. Okay, so words of affirmation is something you can't do without. Of all the love languages, an act of service. Act of service. Maybe your child, love language is acts of service. Your child like you to do something for him or her. Just do something to make the child, maybe the child can even, do their laundry by themselves already. They've grown to that age, but you just choose to surprise them and do it one, and then the child comes back home and says, my laundry is done. Mom has done it. The child will be so, oh, wow. Okay, so what are you doing? You are preparing, you are making, you're trying to smoothen the communication between you and your child. You're trying to make your child see that I am your friend. Okay, you're trying to bridge, if there has been a gap already, you're trying to bridge that gap. Quality time, spend quality time with your child. Spend quality time with your child. Okay, when you spend I know that we're in a busy world where we find it so difficult to carve out that time, but just as you would carve out eating or praying or fasting or what is it that you love to do, or exercise or going to the gym, just as you would carve it out into your schedule, you must carve out spending quality time with your child, either weekly, bi-weekly, carve it out. Let that child know that he or she is also important to you. As much as your work is important, or much more than your work is important. You're so important to me. Okay? Cancel out stuff for them. Let them know that you are that important to me. When you realize that you've been so much on work, and you've not really had time, you're that important to me. So when that child have that sense of significance, there is no, it will be easier for you to be able to say something to that child, and that child will trust you and believe you. The child will be able to trust and believe you. And someone is asking, well, how do I know the one that is my child's love language? Apart from the words of affirmation that I have said that it is general, you must do it, it's also important to find out. And the easiest way for you to be able to find out what your child's love language is to actually look at what it is that my child love. As a child, it's easier to know this when they are still children, when their emotions, their heart, and a whole lot of things have not been tampered with. You will realize that those children, maybe when they want to do something for you, a child that will always want to give you anything. Maybe the child wants to give you his or a toy. The child wants to give you, the child will just look for one old small object that you don't even, it's not even useful or meaningful. The child just wants to give it to you. The child wants to give it to you. You will know that this child, you're able to know that what they love, they believe that everybody loves it, because that child is showing to you, this is what I love. So the child will show you love based on their love language as a child. It is when they are grown that they are able to not do that anymore. But if you have been observant, or if you can think back, what does my child love to do? Some children, you will know that this child's love language is gifts. This child loves gifts, acts of service. My child also, when he or she, when she has done, when he has done, my boy, when he has done something and he feels that I'm a bit upset, then he would say, can I make a cup of tea for you? Do you want tea? I don't want tea. Do you want, we asking, can I clean your shoes? He would just want to do something for you. Do you want can I go and do this for you? So you know the act of service. I picked that. Now he's grown. He doesn't really so much show that again. But when he was younger, that was what he was doing. So I know that has not died. It's still inside of him. So I know how to get to him. If I feel that we're falling out and that we need to come back. Act of service. Act of service, you would know that's that child's love language. Or a child who just want to hug you. Mommy, can I give you a hug? Or a child that just wants to hug you, want to peck you, you will know that child's love language, the core of that child's love language is physical touch. And such child, you have not even pat that child before on the back. You have not hugged that child before. You have not even, some people, for word of affirmation, some people have never even said to their child they love them. Like, really? But I know that these days when parents are actually getting better, especially African parents, they're actually getting better at affirming their love for their child. But some parents, even till now, are not doing it. I can't even remember. I cannot remember if my parents ever told me they love me by themselves until I began to grow and I began to demand it myself. I know they love me, but there are different ways they show their love. They don't do that. But we know better now as parents. So especially our fathers to our girl child, you should be the first person to even tell your child how beautiful she is. Tell her how much you love her. And mothers too. Before someone will go out there to go and tell them they love them, even though it is not love, it is deception. So you must be able to model what true love is to your child, so that when your child gets out there in the world and someone is trying to deceive her, she would know that, no, this is not correct. I know what love is. I was properly loved from home. I was correctly loved from home. So those kind of children are not easily deceived. So when your child grows and it's time to even choose, you won't start to panic that, hey, God, my child, you won't begin to panic because you have modeled what's true love, pure love, correct love. That is not selfish. You have modeled it to your child from home. Okay, so these are the ways you can actually know. Or a child that, some people say, well, this child is too clingy. You just want to, that child loves quality time. How much time do you actually intentionally carve out time to spend time with this child? It may not be easy anymore when the children are now becoming, because a time is coming when you won't be able, you would crave the time to even spend time with them. You now have the time at your hand, but this child, they just want to be in themselves because you have never been that kind of parent. So you're struggling to actually bond and everything before. It's never late. The time to start it is now. so that whatever it is you that has been laid upon you, because there's so many things we would want to communicate to our children in life, values. We want to communicate values. We want to communicate our faith. We want to communicate so many things would want to communicate to our children in life. But if these basics are not in place, communication may never be effective. If your children are getting all of these things that we have discussed today out there with someone else, this person can communicate anything to them. It could be negative, and they will sink it in. They will actually soak it in. They will gulp it in. Why? Because this person has laid some foundation that makes for effective communication. It doesn't matter if what that person is communicating is negative or positive, but the person has laid some foundation for effective communication. So you don't want it to be an outsider and a negative one at that. So it begins from home. It begins from you as a parent. So we cannot afford to fail our children in this regard. We can and we cannot afford to also fail God in this regard. And I know we have been fortified to do so. So I would like to open the house for questions. If we have parents who have questions from what I have said so far, or maybe from something that is out of the box you want to ask question about. Thank you. If you have question, you raise your hand so the host can unmute you, or maybe you can drop a message on the chat box or what have you. If you have question, let's address it. Question. Okay, if we don't have question, do we want me to, should I ask question? Should I ask question?
I'd
Do we
like to
have fathers?
say, I'd just
Okay,
like to say, well done. That
thank
was,
you.
I don't want to say it's a speech, it's just like a good topic that you've just covered. Well done. Just like what you said, that we Nigerian parents or African parents are getting better. The way you explained that I think I'm going to steal that. I'll start using it for my little ones. But
Okay.
what I've just learned from you as well is the way you've explained about this. I mean, a husband and wife meeting, what happens and all that. Yes, I am actually going to steal that.
Hmm.
And I'm going to take on board how you said, telling them to do affirmations. I
Hmm.
don't usually do it. It's one thing that, yeah, maybe from tomorrow we'll start, write something up tonight, we'll start, use the scriptures. And
Great.
just like you said, my older ones, there are some things that I've picked up from what you've just said, profess love to them. I do it with the little ones, but with the older ones, it's just like, you know what, mind your business, mind my business. And the way you said, oh, you don't only when you call them when you need to say something to them. And sincerely, that's me and my kids, that's me and my boys. When I call them, it's like, oh God, mom is here again. She wants to send me to downstairs. She wants to send me to the kitchen. She wants to send me to that. So thank you for touching on that. I'll pick up on that
You're
and I
welcome.
would would work on it. Thank you so
Wow.
much. But that is really awesome. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. You actually answered my question already. I wanted to ask, I thought nobody was going to say anything. So I wanted to ask that, okay, as far as words of affirmation is concerned, how many of us parents have been doing that with our children? Okay, and then you answered that already. Okay, you said you haven't been doing that and you would start doing that.
No, I need to
Well,
start doing it. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for being a great parent. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you
Everyone
so
here
much.
is a great parent. For us to be here, I know, oh, we are great parent, we're intentional parent. That is why we are here. So it will actually be great if we can go back and begin to do this with our children. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. Do we have more feedbacks and questions?
Yes, good evening, ma'am. Thank you so much for such a rich session. What stood out for me was when you said that we should correct positively. So I usually do think that my second son does what he does, like gets on my nerves sometimes because he wants attention. But from what you said tonight, it must have meant that I've not been communicating effectively. Maybe, I've not been communicating effectively with him. So the way I talk to his brother, his older brother, and that one gets it and just adjust for him. Like I have to like say it again, and again, and it doesn't just work. So I've learned that instead of saying, why can't you? That was the phrase that kind of like, oops, gave me a lash on my butt because I use that a lot. Why can't you just be? Why can't you? Why can't you? So I learned that I should replace that with do this, do it like this, do it like that, and tell him exactly what to do, not ask him, because if he knows, I'm sure he won't do it otherwise. So
Exactly.
it's not like he knows. And that for me stood out like, okay, going forward, I'm just going to tell him what to do and not also shout about it. You see that shouting thing? Oh, Jesus. God help me. I pray that God will help me not to yell. But let me ask a question. If you say, okay, so go to your room, pick up the clothes on the floor and put them in the laundry bag. And you say that, and the child takes forever. And at the point when you want to say, shut the door, he's just picking up, maybe he has not even picked up the clothes from the floor. So you have added another errand and he has not done the first one. What do one do without scream? But how will you not scream and say, goodness, I told you to. So what approach can I use for a child who seems to be slow on task and can be forgetful? Like you have to say it again and again, like, and it's not because he wants to disobey. That's not I found out that it's not because he wants to disobey. He just likes to do things at his own pace, which does not catch up with my life. So what do I do in that case?
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. I love your openness and sincerity. It shows that you're an exceptional parent. You're an exceptional parent, and and a very good one at that. Okay, so for children like that, most children actually, if we ask parents to unmute their mic here and begin to talk, you would realize that it is not common to you alone. It's common to all.
Okay.
Most parents will have one child at certain age that would want to, and most of the time, what usually happens is that these children are easily distracted, either physically or in their minds. They are distracted. So children that do that, either they are easily distracted in their minds and their mind have programmed another thing. They are thinking about the cartoon or they are thinking about something. And so it's making the pace of their work slow, or they are actually distracted. Maybe when you get into the room, you will see that the child is doing something else apart from that thing that you have. Yeah. So what the issue is that such child or such children, they get easily distracted. And I tell you, most of the time, for this kind of thing, you would have to just repeat yourself, but you will ensure not to repeat yourself aggressively. There's a way you can repeat yourself very firmly, but not aggressively. So once you have done that, and you have to do that again and again, once the child now eventually get that thing done, then you have to sit the child down and let the child knows that there are consequences to when you're asked to do something and you're getting distracted, you're not getting it done. For me, what I used to do for my little child then, when he was young, but as at that time, he can write already. So I would ask him to sit down after he has done that. So it's a form of affirmative also. So I don't call it punishment, because the moment you begin to call it punishment, the child will not like it again. So I would just say it's this simply means it's like you're getting easily distracted. This simply means that you need to tell yourself again and again that I will not get distracted. So I will ask my child to sit down. So I will write, I am not easily distracted. I am focused. You will write it in one full page. And I will say, as you are writing it, you are saying it. So now it's helping my child's writing. And it's also helping my child to speak to himself. I am not easily distracted. I am focused. I am not easily distracted. I am focused. I am not. So my child will write a full page. At a point, I didn't have to say it's a punish or it's a discipline. My child began to realize that if I don't get this thing done fast, mommy is going to ask me to write 2 pages or 3 pages of I am not easily distracted. I am focused. I better be focused and do this fast.
Great. Okay.
So after a while, he started getting it that there's always consequences. And another thing is that in this generation of technology, you know, these things have a way of making our children get distracted. They might not be doing that, but all of the ones that they have watched and is already in their brain, it's a lot of things happening in their mind. So these things get them distracted. If you need to reduce screen time, you can reduce. You should do that for that kind of child. A child that gets easily distracted. If you need to I'm not saying scrap out screen time, but you can reduce screen time. Okay, that's one of the things you can do. But when it comes to you delivering what you want the child to do, you have to just say, I know it's not easy, but you will get used to it. It's a training that we have to give ourselves as parents. Because since we've been shouting, since we've been shouting, have they changed? No. Since we've been shouting, they have not changed. So if anything, you have to say it calmly. You have to first, swallow your irritation, because many times we get irritated by that.
Yes.
So we want to react instead of respond. So because if we are reacting, we must bear in mind that when we are reacting, we are also teaching the child aggressiveness passively. You don't know. That's what you're doing. So later on, you will just realize that between the two of them, there are some words or there are some things I say. Then later on, I realized that my daughter starts saying to my son, I know that this is me. I can't even deny it. When I hear that, I know this is me. So I have to stop it. And when I stop it, I don't stop it quietly. I call a meeting. We always have a family meeting in my house, but we don't have it like official. I would just I know the end result I want to achieve in my mind. So I would just create something around it. I can create a family movie. I can create a family comedy movie. And then when something comes up in between that movie, I would just say something that, that thing that I usually say this before. I will say it out. When I say that, they will look at themselves. That's an affirmation. So mommy knows that she says this thing. So they're happy that you are admitting that. So they are so attentive to what you want to say next. So I would say, I usually said this before, but I realized there is a wrong way. And I corrected myself and I have stopped. And so this is how I will begin to do it now. You would see the look in their faces. As a parent, we need to admit it when we're wrong. Don't just let it die silently and think that, the children will not. No, you have put something in them that might be difficult to uproot later on in life. So but when you openly admit it and correct yourself on it, you will see that if any of them have picked it, they will know that, no, this is wrong. I need to drop it too. So I think I'm digressing. So, but I believe I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma. You're welcome. Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Titilola. Do we have more questions? Or can we call it a day? Oh, do we have questions on the chat room? GGCMI, do we have questions on the chat room? Okay. Mommy JMK, you're welcome, ma. Just seeing your message. So over to you, Miss Shirayo. Over to you. Is Miss Joy on board?
Just 1 second. Right. Yeah, thank you so much, Adenike, for your time. And I want to believe our parents are blessed with this session. I've been in and out of some other things, so engagement, so I don't really concentrate 100%. But if you have had, I've recorded it, parents. If you want me to send you a copy, I will be happy to send it across to you. Yeah, so the view ahead is so powerful, and I hope and I pray that parents will apply this. Parent, please, it's not about hearing, but you need to apply it. Okay, so I appreciate your time, and yeah, do you want us to do the next session, or is this enough? So we want your comments. So parents, let us comment now. You know, do you want us to book Adenike in again, probably maybe next 2 weeks, you know, to talk, or do you have enough? So okay, I'm saying yes, please. Okay, so yeah, Adenike, sorry, it's my Adenike. I'm calling you because we are classmates. We used to, yeah. So madam, will you be able to yeah, cover time? So we have the conversation after this session, okay, about the next session. So we are
Oh,
blessed
yes,
and we
yes.
say thank you.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
parents, we are proposing this home safety at home. So will you like to join? Let me see your response. So because this guy I'm paying to bring him on board. So if you won't join, so there is no need of paying. You know, this must come and talk to us. But the information is going to give us, I tell you, you're going to really, they are very, very useful. In fact, it's something that you can even, can, if you have a platform, advise other parents about it. So are you happy? So let me know if you want us to bring him, next week so that I can talk. And we also have with our coach Titi, if you are parents um who will be interested, in diction, public speaking. Someone like me, I need it 100%. If we have probably we present, we are pastor, we find ourselves in a situation where we talk publicly, or yeah, even for personal development. So we're looking forward to that next week. So please let us know if you're interested. Just send me a message that I'm interested. So the plan is to test this to see how many parents um connected and to see if you guys will want to connect again. So that we can continue. And if people are not interested, then we can just scrap it. So, and I believe you are blessed. Thank you so much for your patience and for your time. So we look forward to see you in the next session. So Adenike, do you have any comments, any activities for our parents? Please bring in those activities like you used to do, so that parents can have like a take home, like something like a checklist, what they've improved on, what they're struggling with, something like that, so that they can ask questions, in the next session. I know there's a lot of parents struggling in one way or the other, especially parents that's actually, I believe you need this parent. That's why you're here, and we are so happy because it shows that you are very intentional about your parenting. But there are some parents that actually need this. Parents who are struggling, who social workers are already taking, they are not here. And we don't know what to do about that. I'm tired of receiving calls, hey, you come and help, we'll write reference and so on. A program like this, you will not join. So may God help us. I didn't make any comment before our parents.
Okay, so I think I will just give, thank you so much, Miss Joy. I think I will just give verbal intentional activity that you need to do with your child between now and when we'll see in the next class that we're going to ask how effective that was. What did that do to your child? I think I'll just mention one or two. Okay, one of which is word of affirmation for your child. It could be 2, 3 words of affirmation. Like ensure that every day or every other day you appraise one good thing that your child has done. Appraise at least one good thing that your child has done. Appraise that child positively. Speak positively, especially for you who have spoken negatively of your child before to the hearing of your child in the presence of an outsider. Ensure a scenario happened that warrants you. And when you have the opportunity, seize it. When you are with an outsider and your child is there, speak positively of your child to your child hearing. Speak positively of your child. Take your word of affirmation seriously. Do it between now and the next time we're going to meet, and let us know the results, what it did to your child. And secondly, for those who have not been creating time, even if you have been doing that, spending quality time with your child, ensure you slot that into your schedule now. You can start with watching a family movie together. It doesn't have to be a movie that you enjoy. Find out the things if your child enjoy action movie or whatever, depending on the age of the child, find out that which they enjoy. If it is to play a game or video, even if you don't know how to play, maybe your children do you mind saying, can you show me how to play this game? They may first laugh at you, or are you really sure, mommy? Let them teach you. Fail at it, laugh at yourself. Let them laugh at you. Laugh together. Laugh about it, and just let them. That's to show that you're interested in their lives. So spend quality time with them. Okay, I can see. Okay, spend quality time with them that way. It could be family movie, comedy. If you don't even know which comedy, something that will make you all laugh out loud together. Let them see you laugh silly. Some parents they are so much too put together. They have never laughed silly before their child. They are too uptight fisted. They are too, uptight. Yes, they are too uptight. So please do something that would make you laugh. Go out together. If you can't go out together, that's why I mentioned the indoor thing. You can do outdoor time together. You can do a walk together. You can take a stroll together. You can take a walk together. You can take turns in taking walk together with your child. You can have time out just pick the children one after the other. This evening is time out with Ella alone. And Ella will feel so special. You take a walk with Ella. You spend quality time. Ella, anything you want to ask me, just ask me. Do you have any question? Do you have any, I'm not saying material things now. Do you have any question you want to ask me? Okay, let's gist, let's talk. Let's tell them things about you, especially you that you have teenagers. Tell them life lessons that you have learned, positive ones. Tell them mistakes you have made and how you corrected yourself and how you're over it now. How the steps, you talk to them, gist with them, befriend them. Let them see that you made mistakes too, and now you're better. Or you're still work in progress. Let them know these things. It won't make you less of a parent. Instead, it will make you a parent that is a parent that is emotional is not the word I want to use now. A parent that is humane. Yes, you're also human. You are not a spirit dropped from heaven that can never make mistake. Okay, so let them see it also, so that these are the things you do. Then another day, pick another child. Today is all about, that's for those who have more than one child. Today is all about you. That child will feel so special. You may have many children, but each of them are special and unique in their ways. So create time for them together, and also create individual time for yourself and your children, and come back with feedback how this enhanced your communication so far. It will do something to you, to your children, and you will be amazed what it will do. So you come back with feedback. Thank you. These are the assignments I would want to give us to do, and we look forward to your feedback.
So
Thank
you, Mrs. Adenike. So in addition to that, Ariwo should go Wejo. Sorry about that, I have some visitors. In addition to that, parent, I know some of us I have spent time with my children. No, it's not that kind of time that you are pressing phone. We mean where you are speaking with, when you are mindfully, where they feel you, where you listen to them. Because sometimes we ask them to talk, we don't listen. As it's coming into our head, then we're thinking about maybe that shopping we're supposed to do. Oh my God, I need to carry my car from garage, that kind of thing. This one, in fact, I don't know how to put it. is like a therapist, even for yourself as a parent, where you listen to them attentively, So parent, please, let's genuinely do this. We parents are connected today. Even if it's one parent that can do this, I'm very happy for the result. And also parents, we have a creativity book. So sometimes I say we don't know what to do with them. Get them a copy. Do puzzle where you laugh together, where you choose something wrong, and maybe it's supposed to be car, you choose maybe goat, something like that. So they laugh, they spend. Is really that's what they will remember you for, parents. My dad has passed now, but the time he spent with us, that's the only thing. And he doesn't have time then, I know, but the short time he spent with us, I believe it bought me a lot of things. I can't remember them again. I can only remember the time he spent, the little story of his life. That was what I would put in his biography. Just imagine never spend that time. So I pray God help us. In addition to Adenike's, Mother Adenike's um assignment. So parent, please, let's identify their love language. For parents who hasn't some parent might think, you might think maybe their love language is touch. It could be more than that. So parent, please, let's be intentional. But I know when we are busy, it's hard, because we have other things, life challenges and all. But at the end of the day, parents, this one, every other thing, your job, for example, the stress you get from your job is nothing, because everything will end in this earth. But your children, you're going to give an account. That's what scared me a lot, about having children. That when I read that part in the Bible, that I'm going to give an account. So they are not just, in fact, your children is your first ministry. For parents who are pastors and so on, your children, they are your number one calling, your family, your children. So I pray God help us. Let's give them attention. I know what I'm talking about. Parent with teenager and preteen. It's really, really important.